Let's talk about why most goals fail. Yes, you do need a goal. You need to know your destination. You need to know where you're going. But the thing is a goal is going to fail if you don't have the right vehicle to get there. And that vehicle is systems. So these could be smaller systems or bigger systems in your business. But the point is that it's a step-by-step process that has some sort of end outcome. So for example, a lot of businesses, they do have leads coming in. They're just missing the leads. They're not calling back. They're not answering when they call. They're falling through the cracks. So you need to have a system in place, a repeatable process to capture all of these leads and make sure every single one is nurtured. A system you could put into place for this is you have, first of all, a set person answering the phones. Then when a lead comes in, they have a specific process they go through. They ask a certain set of questions and then they book a call for this lead. Even just this simple system of lead comes in, is answered, and a call is booked. That is a system. It doesn't change. It doesn't require thought or questioning. It's something that just happens. It's the new way of operating in the business. So here at Matterhorn Business Development, there are two main systems we use to help business owners increase their profitability while also being able to step back from the business, or at least not having to work as hard or as long in the business. So the first thing you need is a financial system that guarantees profitability. A big problem is that people are growing the business, maybe they're growing really fast and their expenses grow at the same rate, and then they don't really see the fruits of their labor. They don't really get rewarded for this growth. When I started this company with my father originally, we were working with people, we were helping them grow their businesses, and then they would come to us and say, yeah, but I still don't have any money. And we were like, what? We helped you grow 20% last year. How is that possible? And then we realized this was the missing link. We needed to help people with their profitability, not just their growth. So the way we do that is by using the profit first system. The idea behind it is that most businesses are operating off of the same formula. Revenue minus expenses equals profit. This is a flawed formula when it comes to actually managing the cash flow. There are too many variables at play, and what ends up happening is that you make all of this money, and at the end of the day, you're praying for the pennies at the end. So what Profit First does is actually flip this formula around. We have revenue minus profit equals expenses. So what we're doing is we're setting aside for profit first, and we're running the business with the expenses that are left over. Now, to be clear, this does not mean that you only pay yourself and you're not paying your employees or your vendors. No, this just means that we're going to be more innovative about our spending, and we're also going to be more aware of our spending. It's no more of just money coming in and money coming out. So the way you do this is you actually have 5 bank accounts. All of the money goes into one income account. All your deposits are in their own bank account. And then on a set rhythm, you're going to be allocating this money into the other accounts. There are certain percentages that should go into each account depending on your business, but basically you're going to be putting a percentage into profit, then into owner's pay, then into tax, and then into OPEX. So you'll see OPEX is operating expenses, and that's the account that gets funded last. So before you even think about spending money on expenses, you're making sure that you have profit. You're making sure that you, the owner, the most valuable employee, that you are consistently getting paid. You're setting aside for taxes because that's not your money. That's the government's money. We all know we should be setting aside for our taxes, but now we're going to actually do it. And then at the end of the day, we can figure out, all right, what do we have to actually spend and grow this business? So the next system you need, now that you have your profitability under control, is you're going to need something to actually organize the business and have some operational systems in place. The way we do this is with our 4 pillars of business basics. So every business has these 4 pillars, no matter what your industry is. I've worked with over 40 different industries, and I'm telling you, we can break it down every single time. Every business needs to sell their product or service, then they need to deliver what was sold, then they need to get new customers to sell and deliver to. So you see, this keeps going in a cycle like this. Having these 4 pillars is how you can clearly see where you are stuck in the business, what roles in the business need to be filled, who is doing what in the business, how to make SOPs and set processes for each pillar of the business. This is the starting point to getting organized and systematized. So within these pillars, you can have your team members numbers assigned to their different areas. So you've got sales, you've got delivery, then you've got marketing, and then management. You've got some people up here, but that's where you are. Head honcho, you should be up here in management. This is HR, finance, future vision, policy creation, R&D. So you might have some people up here with you, but this is where you should be instead of down in the machine. Every area has their assigned metrics or numbers that show whether that area is succeeding. Yes, leads are up. Oh, but this one is down. Delivery, we are delivering what we are supposed to be delivering. Sales, the most important one. Sales are down. Oh no. Now you know by looking at these numbers where your attention is needed. You don't need to focus on delivery. Delivery is doing what they're supposed to be doing right now, but sales, ooh, this is a problem. You need to go focus on sales now, right? So you're no longer pulled in all directions. You're just being pulled where your focus is actually needed. These systems aren't just theory. We've used these with over 40 different industries, and most owners start seeing an increase in profit within their first 30 days. If you're ready for this kind of clarity, click the link below and book your free profit assessment call. My team will take a look at your current situation and help build out a roadmap to implement these systems in your business. Just click the link below to book your call now. There are many other systems you can put in place in your business to make sure that you are profitably growing. But where should you start? A lot of times systems take time to implement. They are definitely time well spent, and that shouldn't stop you from implementing them. But the biggest bang for your buck is to find out where your money is coming from now. You've got to focus on sales and money generating activities. If you just think with 80% of your revenue usually comes from 20% of your activities or 20% of your salesmen, you can break that up however you want, but 80% of your money comes from 20% of output. So take a look at what you are doing as the owner of the business that is directly impacting that output, and you need to strengthen that and crank that up. So for example, I spend time making these YouTube videos. This is where 95% of our business comes from. I'm not in here all day long. It's a fraction of my time that is spent here filming content, but it's what generates the most revenue for our business. So if I wanted to crank up our business, I could crank up our YouTube videos. So let's talk about the CEO freedom formula. What does this actually mean? This means less owner involvement plus more profit, and that's what equals true business freedom. Because if you are still working in the business and your involvement is required, you're not going to be free from the business. You might as well go have a 9-to-5 where you are tied down. And if you don't have profit, you're not able to take care of yourself, your family, make strategic business decisions to reinvest that profit, reward your team with that profit. Profit isn't evil. Profit is what helps you grow, and it gives you more freedom and your employees more freedom. How this usually goes is your first 30 days are spent on profit first. This really can be implemented quickly. You've just got to move and take action on it. And then your next 30 to 90 days are on the 4 pillars. The 4 pillars of business basics are what's going to help you get organized, get focused, start putting tasks and people into their proper places in the business. And then typically from 90 days to that 6-month mark, that's when we can start implementing things like metrics, SOPs, company culture, really start refining things in the business. So within 6 months, you can have a smooth growing operating machine. Now, this would be if you're implementing these things on your own. Now, when I work with clients, we try to implement more than one thing at a time. So we can usually be working on profit first and the 4 pillars at once. Sometimes these issues get pulled up front because they are more pressing. And that's the benefit of having a guide or a mentor who can customize this for you and help you with roadblocks as you're going. One of my clients, they were a married couple and they were stuck in the day-to-day. They weren't taking home enough money. So we just moved really fast together. They were able to implement profit first right away. They easily saw where their money was going in. They easily were able to give themselves a raise and see what they could actually afford in terms of operating expenses instead of basically taking from their own owner's pay and running the business off of that. They were able to shift things around there. They were able to step back while having a smoothly cash flowing profitable business. Building systems is how you hit your goals without burning out. If you're ready to get your time back and make more profit, book a call with my team today. We'll make a plan of how to install these systems in your business so you can see profitable growth month after month.